It's just because we're still circling. Maybe I'll have to go to my phone. I remember my phone. Turn on your next room.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Get Off My Lawn. I'm Jedi Johnson 22, joined as always, wait a minute, joined tonight by the always steady Sticks Boy 73, saving Christmas, the bad to the bone. Brucifer is bringing it in, and the man behind the curtain, pulling the levers, pushing the buttons, Joe's Doolin. What's going on, fellas?
Not much.
What's going on?
Sticks definitely needs to take his mic off of mute because he had it set differently. So the intro, he was unmuted. Yeah.
I know.
Unmute yourself, Sticks.
Oh, he's still muted. Hang on, let me take care of him.
So just like every weekend.
It won't let me unmute Sticks.
This is not a gag,
because he did it himself, so he has to unmute himself.
Sticks, you need to fix it. I don't know.
Can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Sticks to mime. You see every week.
Somebody else tried meeting him. Anyway, we are here. This is our couple of days before Christmas show.
You can tell our level of preparation before Christmas.
We thought we were prepared. Sticks is throwing fly in the ointment. But so we got a fun show. We're going to be doing a artist spotlight on the beautiful Carla Cohen. Everybody likes our spotlights, our Joe spotlights. He's putting these things together. We're going to give some recommendations for what to watch over this longer than normal holiday, and got some news and some other. We're going to talk comics. So
yay!
Has anybody got anything? Do we have Sticks? Is Sticks able to communicate with us now?
I
am here.
Sticks is back, and he's here.
Oh, thank God.
Welcome.
Thank God. All right.
The mute issue is resolved.
All right. Let's say hello to the chat real quick with a few folks. Hey, that's I thought that was my brother down there. GT Comics coming in at first and second.
Always.
What's going on, GT? But not third this week. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Tommy Longbox, Merry Christmas back at you. GT was so upset he didn't get first, second, and third. I think he tried to hack us or something here. I don't know what's going on. He's inserting a virus. I don't know what all that is.
Got some Greek in there.
Yeah.
We might have Marco popping in here tonight, by the way. I'm just giving you the heads up. He might pop in, talk a little Rebel Moon during news.
AOA is man behind the scenes, making sure everyone knows how to follow GT, and Tommy Longbox. What's going on, AOA? AOA is hard at work.
Hey, yeah, we got somebody from Twitch. Nice. Awesome.
SNC Lavalin. What's going on? Glad you could join us. AOA's back at it. Ed, Bluebeards. Almost.
That's right.
Sticks needs to let it grow. He needs to. Sticks needs to grow a beard.
I'm not a beard guy.
Neil Jones. I saw that. I thought my brother was in here. Neil Johnson. I was like, oh shit, my brother's in here. Neil, what's going on? Hope all is well with you. And BK is here to play the role of Grinch.
Yeah.
You guys will have a blast come springtime when I shave the beard off.
I will say that when I'm stealing the Wi-Fi from Jebediah next door, it doesn't go.
It's powered by butter churn.
It's gonna catch on to you.
Yeah.
Oh, good times, good times.
Well,
Anybody have any
hopefully,
pickups? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Let's do pickups. Looks like I am in the pole position, so you want me to go first?
I love that
Yes,
game.
sir.
All right. So picked up a few things. Well, I got a stack of things. These are the ones I'm going to show this week. Since I got some stuff, picked up some things from. I'm trying to remember her artist name. Is it? Sue. I don't want to screw it up. You guys help me out.
Oh, it says
This
Micah.
is,
So
no, this. I'll remember it later.
Oh, Shikari?
No, it's Suyong.
Oh, no.
I'll remember it. But anyway, these are connecting covers since I
nice.
disconnecting covers
Power
last
hour.
week. These are metal 1 of 10s. Look at me, and they're signed.
Oh, those medals. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't do things halfway, Brewster. And, yeah, some things I do.
This is
Here's
not my
another one
show. I'm not
signed.
going to say that.
It's
that's
killing me. I
nice.
can't remember who the artist is. I'm going to look it up here in a minute.
Power Hour has a lot of younger artists,
And-
newer people.
I also picked. She did some sketches too, so I picked up a couple of her sketches.
Nice.
Mary Jane and Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Nice.
I picked those up. So somebody else show something while I try to remember who this artist is.
All right. I got one thing this week, and that was Bendis and Malieve run for Scarlet #1. It's just a pure cover buy. It's just a really great cover, and $16. I'm not going to pass up a $16 slab.
Nice.
It's very, very, very hard to pass that up. Bruce, you got anything?
This is going to take like 10 minutes. Well, last time I was here, I showed off some cassettes. A good friend of mine went out and bought me a cassette player. Little boombox.
Bluetooth and a cassette player?
Yes, it has Bluetooth.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
And it has a SD card and a USB. If you want to record the tapes to USB or SD. So I went to the thrift store today. I got little Waylon and Willie.
Can't go wrong with that. Willie just celebrated his 90th birthday.
A little AC/DC Live.
Jedi, check the chat.
More Willie and Waylon.
Willie and the Waylon Jennings.
A little Christmas
No, it's not.
with
No, it's not her.
Okay.
little Christmas with Frank.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Frank.
Little blue eyes himself.
Little
He's the chairman.
90s
He's the chairman of the
K7.
board.
Marvin Gaye's greatest hits.
Nice. Can't go wrong.
These are like $3, $2. Little Dolly Parton greatest hits.
As long as the tapes aren't beat to shit on the
They're not.
inside, all stretched out and warped, you go. You're
Little
golden.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Dolly Parton Christmas.
It's still just the best sound. I love the sound cassettes make and the cassette packaging.
Waylon Jennings, the Music Man. More Earth, Wind, and Fire. Some Rat. And now the good stuff. An edition, a variant of X-Men #1 I've never seen. It has a little X in the barcode. Never seen that before.
It's a later print.
Could be. I have to check out the inside. Little Marvel Triple Action 35.
Nice. A little reprinting of a Ray Guardian.
Mm-hmm. A little X-Men 207 newsstand. Really good condition. Thor Annual 8. Little Legends of the Dark Knight #1. Untold Legends of the Batman. The new comic book week. Silent Night. She got Santa tied up. Green Lantern #6. Homage.
Emerald
That's
Twilight.
a good one.
Yes. Another homage. Batman and Robin #4. Titans Beast World Gotham. I just love this Nightwing as a werewolf.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
And then I think this is the 60th anniversary or 50th anniversary variant from Justice Society of America.
Nice.
Scotty Young. Batman.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I love these covers.
That was the mail away one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the Scotty Young exclusive.
You might have saw these on Instagram. These are from that pack I opened up. DCUs.
I'm closing in pretty fast on all this.
Yep. 38 now. I missed one yesterday. I was so pissed. And Captain Marvel Jr. number 79 and 8.0 from 1949.
Nice. Fawcett makes the best Captain Marvel.
And I have an art germ.
What?
I have an art germ. Jim and the Holograms,
She's
number
an
1.
antibiotic for that.
Nice. Nice.
I love this cover.
They sell a topical cream for that too, I think.
Penicillin. And that is it. Thank you.
Hey, by the way, it was I'm probably gonna butcher her name. Sarah Soon is the artist for those comics I showed. SORAHSUHNG. Sarah Soon.
Yeah.
They're nice. I like the sketches a lot. Sticks, you got anything?
I have nothing this week. Nothing this week.
No, I'm just going to show you on the screen then.
Slow stick. Sorry, show me yours.
All right. Well, let me pray that that this works because the slide deck was somehow running on its own magically, which is weird because they're all PDFs with no timing or anything because they're just PDFs. So
it's the ghost of Dom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angrily cursing Kathleen Kennedy ashes and things. So number one, happy holidays, everybody. Figured we would do our little Fallen 4 since we did Something is Killing the Children last week. I figured we would go to its little sister of a title that came out right after, kind of Department of Truth. Both came out very close to each other, both Tinian titles, both had a lot of heat on them when they first came out. So I figured we'd look at a few and see where they're at. First on the list was the Momoko cover of Department of Truth 1, the Virgin cover. This thing was very, very hot. Very, very hot out of the gate. I mean, this thing at its peak went for $500 and has slowly come down and basically bottomed out. You know, they'll say fair market value is $160 on it, but really around now you can get this book for about $100, to 120.
Was this a ratio or exclusive?
I forget whether this was the one per
1 in 100.
store or the 1 in 100.
This is
There
the
was
ver-
a trade. There's a trade dress version of this as well, but the Virgin cover was the one that was going pretty well. This, like Something Killing the Children, there's 8 million freaking variants of every damn title of this, and this had, I would say, probably more than Something is Killing the Children, because Something is Killing the Children didn't go crazy until, issue 12 or so, when they started throwing out ridiculous amounts of variants and stuff like that all over the place. Department of Truth out of the gate had a lot of different variants that came out. But
Momoko collectors have to be loving this. Momoko investors have to be kind of pissed, right? Because they're
this was a beautiful
not doing too
cover.
well.
I mean, this was a beautiful cover. This this definitely highlights that Momoko does have chops when she's not overworked and
when
kind
she's
of
not being forced
cranking
to
out
churn
weird
out
stuff.
like 5 covers a week.
Yeah, this was a great cover, and like I said, this thing had some heat on it. It's like I said, it's kind of bottomed out. You can get it for 100, 120 now. I don't know if I'd still necessarily dip my toes into that right now. I think I have enough in my short box of Department of Truth. But if you're a Momoko collector or you really want to discover at some point, like I said, it's come down, and it seems to be coming back a little bit. There's not a ton of sales on it, so it kind of bottomed out there for a while, and it was kind of stale, not really moving. But the last sale was a little bit higher, so you might have seen kind of a bottom on this one. So something to think about. This is another one that always has option news around it as well, in terms of Department of Truth. So who knows where that goes. Probably the most infamous Department of Truth cover, the Baby on a Plate cover of Department of Truth 2. This thing was also crazy at one point. You had sales around $600 of this at its peak. And this thing also kind of bottomed out a bit. You're around 140, 150 now. If you're looking for a copy, some will go a little bit higher, some will go a little lower for a 9.8. But this was definitely the most disturbing cover. And this was on, everybody that was talking about Department of Truth was talking about this cover when this came out. This was hot shit. But like I said, it's settled. If you kind of look at the chart, it's taken another little dip down, and it might still bottom out a little more, but it's been pretty steady at that bottom rate, kind of close to 190, 180 for a 9.8. I like this cover as well. The Jeff Lemire, the notebook, kind of pen and ink looking drawing. This was another one that was pretty hot out of the gate. It got a little over $200 for a while, and like everything, it's kind of settled out, but it's seen a bit of a resurgence and kind of come back a little bit. It's a solid $100 book right now at a 9.8 if you're looking for it. You can find them a little bit cheaper, a little more expensive sometimes. So, if it's something you're looking to complete a set with, this is one that you can find on the cheap below $100 every now and then for an auction in a 9.8. And probably my favorite that had some buzz, because this was an exclusive, store exclusive, was this Chin Potter Banksy homage to Department of Truth 9. He did another Department of Truth homage in Department of Truth 10. Didn't hold up as well. This thing, again, out of the gate was hot. Everyone was talking about it. It's a solid $400 book. And then, market collapsed out on this title in general. But it has been making kind of a slow resurgence, and it's still over a $200 book for a 9.8. So out of Department of Truth books, this one probably held up probably better.
You said
than
this is
those.
an exclusive?
Yeah, it was a store
Is
exclusive.
it one of those limited exclusives?
Yeah, I'm not even sure how limited it was in terms of an exclusive, but it was Jim Potter, I believe, worked at the comic shop and did art, and then they let him do an exclusive. So this is a lot of his early work, and people love Banksy. It's a great Banksy homage of for this title. So it kind of hits on a lot of cylinders. You have kind of an up and coming artist. You have a cool homage, and it was at the time a hot title. So like I said, out of all the incentives and variants and stuff like that, this one seems to kind of have held up pretty well. I mean, to still be a solid over $200 9.8 for number 9 of an indie series that's overall cooled off is still pretty good. So that's what we got in the Fun Fallen 4 this week.
Nice.
So can I throw a little retraction? So
Sure.
last week when we were talking about, and it's hit me after the show that I screwed it up. Last week we were talking about what I said was I bought an 8th printing of Something's Killing the Children for like $30 or $35, and it kept going down. It actually wasn't Something's Killing the Children. It was Department of Truth. After I got to think about it. So there were a lot of printings of this one too.
Oh yes, there were about 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think
eight, number 1.
8 or 9. Yeah.
And they basically kept reusing the same art a lot with different color schemes for them as well as they did the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th prints. Yeah, I have all of them in the whole run, but I just had them on the pull list at the time. I was like, oh, there's another print. Well, I'll just throw it in there. Who knows?
When you're prisons too, so yeah.
The Frizzen in number 1 was a nice cover, but like I said, a lot of them have fallen off quite a bit. There was news that this thing was in some way optioned in some way, but I never heard anything else of it.
At this point, everything is optioned.
Yeah,
I mean, I
remember when that used to be exciting news, and now it's like, who cares?
Tinian has to have. Why? Jesus Christ! Monsters in My Pocket is moving volume because it got optioned. So, I think Tinian needs to have something in live action at some point. Yeah. He's too good of a writer. His stories are too good for him not to have something make its way to live action. And Department of Truth would be pretty interesting. Something's Killing the Children would be pretty interesting. I was reading Buffy Guy's comment at the same time I was talking. So
that's an actual comic book.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually have it.
You do. You would have it.
Yeah. But yeah, some of his stuff is eventually going to make it into live action. People are optioning and looking for too much content, for streaming content and stuff like that to make shows. And, I think people want ready-made stuff, and he's the perfect type of person to be able to, say, hey, we'll take your project and have him on as a consultant and move things in the right direction. So we'll see. All right, for Comic Now and Later, out this week, I love the Batman Santa Claus Silent Night 3, the Derek Chew cover with Black Canary on front and center there with her megaphone. I like Chew. I like covers that Chew does, and all of these DC Christmas covers have been killing it. It's just kind of like pick which one you like, whether it be lyrics, whether it be Chew, whether it be Lobos. They're all good and they're all fun. So, and people like the holiday covers.
Yep.
Second on my list, not holiday focused, is the Red Light 2, the Ferguson erotic cover homage. If you're not picking up Red Light for the decal covers on all the A covers, then these erotic cover homages are great for the series. Each Each one has one.
So that's not Mrs. Claus.
No, that's not Mrs. Claus. So, like I said,
Nasty.
all of their issues have them. So they're kind of fun. I don't know whether they're really slipping under the radar or not. I don't know how many stores are buying more than maybe just kind of the A cover because it's DeCall, and DeCall's doing all the A covers. Cho's doing, well, I know Cho did cover B for number 1. I'm not sure if he's doing any of the other ones as well. So once you get down to a cover C for an indie title, I don't know how many of these are getting bought. So it's not a ratio or anything else, but sometimes with indies, some of these covers go kind of under the radar. And speaking of under the radar, this Godzilla War for Humanity, which is the IDW series, this Trad Moore 1 in 25 is just a really, really cool cover. I don't see this thing selling any. I didn't see really any sales on eBay. Even for sale, I didn't see many. I saw one copy from the UK, I think. Maybe more will pop up now that it came out this week, but there weren't many out there. So it might be one of those things, if you happen to see it cheap at your LCS or something like that, just something to throw in a box and pick up, because I don't think there's that many of them out there. And people like the Godzilla now. So
did anyone keep reading that? We did a review of number 1. Did anyone keep reading this? I didn't.
No, because it was awful.
I have to admit.
It was, I mean, it wasn't awful. It was,
My
it was
review
very
was awful, or the comic?
No, the comic was,
Wow.
the comic was very weird. The art inside was extremely weird. Because it looked like the kaijus were drawn really detailed and cool, but the humans were drawn like it was like an 8th grade Scholastic book. And it was a weird dichotomy of the way they were drawing the humans versus the kaiju. It was kind of hard to get used to. But I do love Trad Moore. He does cool, trippy comics and art. And it's kind of was a winner of a cover for me.
That's kind of the way the anime looks, isn't it, Bruce? I mean, the kaijus are hyper realistic, and
Yes.
and then the human characters are, definitely anime.
Yeah, they did the same thing for Gamera.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like the animation at all for those.
I mean, I didn't like the kids in it, but I mean, I thought it was all right.
Yeah. Sticking kids in my cartoons.
But no, listen, if you happen to find us at some point below ratio or whatever, that might be a good one to slide in there. Like I said, I only saw one for sale, and they were asking, I think it was like $41, but it was from the UK. So, they wanted $8,000 for shipping or whatever the hell the conversion is across the pond.
Damn.
But I didn't see any others listed. And granted, I was looking yesterday, but I didn't see any others listed. So that's just something to think about out there. And coming soon, I like this Fall of House of X 2. I like Kitty Pryde. I like Shadowcat. I like this cover. So God knows how good the book will be. X-Men's all over the place. Some of it's good, some of it's awful, some of it's just mediocre. So the whole Krakoa thing is getting rebooted or memory hold or whatever. So they're doing an X reboot. Yeah, they're doing an X reboot. So this is going to lead up to that. But everyone loves Kitty Pryde. Shadowcat's become a badass. So pick up your Shadowcats. Maybe she's the next Psylocke in terms of covers. Who knows?
God, no.
I hope not.
This is an exclusive. It's ASM 42 Ejikure. It's just number 1. You get the spider buggy.
Yeah, I see why you picked that for that.
And you got the ladies.
For the buggy.
Yeah, for the buggy.
There's headlights on that buggy.
Yeah. Come for the buggy, stay for the girls.
I like a headlight cover. It's.
So with this one, I get emails from unknown comics. They are been really trying to get me to buy this one, and I haven't done it yet. I would say there's going to be. This might be one. I mean, this is definitely a later, because I got a feeling that these are going to be unless you want like one of the graded ones or one of the signed ones, CGC
and I don't
that they're
I don't
offering.
want either.
I think you can probably catch these on sale probably in another couple of weeks.
When they have their buy two get one free,
yeah,
for their exclusives, is when I normally go in there and look for stuff, because that way I just kind of wait every few months and I'm like, oh, okay, they're having a sale, and then I can pick up stuff that I kind of wanted on the cheap. There's very few things that I'll buy out of the gate for exclusives, unless it's Archie pop art. That stuff I will buy out of the gate.
Yeah. They had a Doctor Who variant once, and I waited until they had the buy two, get one free. So,
well, I don't think you have to worry about that one selling out.
they still have them. So I might buy some more.
That was 5 years ago. They still got them.
Yeah, that's but yeah, no, it's when they run that sale though, the buy two get one free, you can mix and match stuff.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes that's
a little
nice
frustrating for me because a lot of times I go there looking for Vampirella, and
yeah, there's they do a lot of Josh Burns stuff, and I love Josh Burns covers.
Yeah.
But like I said, sometimes it's worth it to just kind of wait till they have that sale and be like, okay, now I'll go in, I'll dip my toe and get three that I really wanted a while back. I'll get them a little cheaper.
Yeah. So what, I mean, I don't really know to get into it, but it's buy two, get one free, get one free. It's not buy four, get two free. That doesn't work. I tried that.
No,
they're like,
no, it's
only one
buy
per
two,
order.
get one.
Yeah.
And you got to watch. Don't get like two $30 books and a $10 book, because that $10 book will be free.
Yeah. The cheapest
you got to
one.
even it out. You got to even it out nicely to take advantage of that. And the last one was Harley Quinn 36, also an exclusive from 616, Ivan Talavera. It's just it's a good Poison Ivy. It's not necessarily the best Harley cover I've seen, but I really love the Poison Ivy on this. I thought it was a cool cover. I like a good Poison Ivy cover.
Fly Trap.
Yep. It was a different looking Ivy than I was kind of used to. So I was happy with that. So it's another one I'll probably wait on and pick up. And that's our comics.
Nice.
Now we can get into some fun news. I kept the news somewhat short because I think we're going to have a little first impressions of Rebel Moon coming up here at the end of our news. So figure we'll get into that. My wife has no problem with my smut books, AOA.
My wife doesn't know about my smut books. I don't really have smut books.
I show my.
I think you do.
I show my wife most of what I buy. I show her.
So there is no nudity in this book. I always get the nice covers. I very rarely, unless I need one and it's in a set, do I get the naughty books.
What's between the pages of the covers?
I don't know. I'll never know, man. I don't
exactly.
She'll never know either.
Smut.
It's not smut until you open it. So.
Hey, I saw your top 5 on your show earlier today. Don't talk to me about smut.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
My covers were very wholesome.
Oh, man.
As a guy who's tried to get a 6-pack his entire life and has never accomplished it, I was a little like, really? That's what it is.
My wife has no problem with my smut books, and I show them.
Don't worry, Jedi. I like you the way you are. You don't need a 6-pack.
All right, first up, Lionsgate Studio is dealing to spin off from Stars, valued at $4.6 billion. So some of these properties are either going to be absorbed, like Paramount, possibly getting absorbed by Warner Brothers, or in some cases, there's places that are going to look to spin things off to be able to raise capital as well. So that's what they look like they're going to do with Lionsgate Studios. So those two may make a split, and Stars can pocket some money, and Lionsgate can go do its own thing. Lionsgate is the one who does the John Wick movies.
So they're buying out their. Is that what it is?
They'll spin it. So they'll just be a separate entity, like when Pepsi spun off Yum Brands, which have Taco Bell and all that stuff. You know, they were all part of Pepsi, and then they spun it off as a separate company. So they will get the benefits from that money, and then the company will run separately as a separate entity.
Joker. I got nothing on this one.
Aquaman 2, which we can hear about from Bruce if he pops back, and then we can laugh at him because he has Jedi's icon down there.
I just tried to change it. It wouldn't let me.
You're everywhere. You're omniscient, Jedi. So Aquaman 2 brought in 4.5 million in previews. There have been somewhat mixed reviews, I believe. Much like Rebel Moon, the critics didn't like it. The audience seems to be relatively warm in terms of their reception to the movie. Bruce,
yes.
Your feelings after seeing Aquaman 2?
I felt it was a perfect adaptation of what encompasses what makes a great comic book movie. It took from the source material. You had the seahorse, you had his buddy the octopus, then throw in a buddy cop movie, Under the Sea, which it was a great movie. The 2 hours flew by. It wasn't overly dragged out. Performances by Momoa and Amber Heard were really good. Of course, Black Manta killed it again.
The seahorse and the aren't those things that people usually make fun of Aquaman about? I always think of, anytime somebody brings up the seahorse, I always think of that episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, Halloween episode.
I can't remember the character's name. Where the one guy,
Rajesh,
had to be Aquaman because no one else wanted to be Aquaman, and he had that little costume with the inflatable seahorse around it.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a great episode.
You know, and then James Wan threw in some horror elements, which was really good to see. Lot of locations. This place was filmed in. AOA hates everything that's not Captain America.
That's like the nicest thing.
Last DCEU log to flush down the toilet.
if you're the nicest thing AOA's ever said about DC.
If you're looking for a fun movie to take your family to, and you're not expecting Oscar-worthy dialogue and just want to have fun and just enjoy a movie, have some popcorn, some, as Marco would say, some pop. It's worth seeing for yourself. It doesn't lead anywhere. Doesn't need to lead anywhere.
Don't upset our Midwestern sensibilities by calling it something stupid like soda.
Wait, he calls popcorn pop?
No, soda pop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's weird too. But
so if you're in, this is probably his last movie is Aquaman. It's a fun movie. I really enjoyed it, and if you're going to listen to critics about every movie that comes out, you'll never go to the movie theaters. So go have fun. It's a great movie to see during the holidays.
Very rare.
Outrageous.
I had to wait for that one. I had to sneak that in there. Very rarely do me and a critic see eye to eye on anything. So if a critic hates it, I get a good vibe probably that I may enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel the same way with
I'm seeing it tomorrow, by the way. So
yeah, a lot of the critics' reviews were it's too comic booky. It's Momoa's too. He wasn't serious, or I've seen on Twitter. Well, Snyder made him serious and made Aquaman tough, and now he's a joke. I'm like, Have you met
Spider-Man
Aquaman?
is serious? What?
I don't get it.
Did I watch a different Snyder cut than
No.
everyone else?
No, you didn't.
I don't get it. People need to start setting their expectations.
I want to ride a
appropriately.
killer whale, Cosmic. I don't want to ride a seahorse. Give me a killer whale. First of all, I don't know if a seahorse can carry me for first off, but
Well, if
maybe
you
it's
like killer
killer.
whales, you should have read the Masters of the Universe book, where at one point He-Man had killer whale hands while he was fighting Skeletor. I kid you not. That was part of that book.
that sounds like something Dom would interject into a conversation.
It is.
It was fresh on my mind because Brewster made me read the book this week. So
Okay.
I was very very
He-Man is now
taken
half
back.
orca. Okay.
Yeah, it was very weird. I was like, I don't. It seemed like a weird way to go, but whatever. Rumor mill that Marvel is planning a Young Avengers film led by Aman Vellani.
Was this rumor started by everybody that watched the Marvels movie and
Yeah,
stayed for the
basically.
credit ending?
Yeah, pretty much. But
Okay.
there's more rumbles internally coming out, rumors that they are seriously considering putting together a Young Marvels cast, which would be interesting.
It makes sense that she leaves the team because she was the leader of the Champions team, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. But you don't have Miles, you don't have Sam yet, so Champions doesn't make sense for them.
Yeah,
they have enough people to put together Young Avengers close enough. I would love that West Coast Avengers run with some of those characters, but
Jeff the Land Shark. Let's go.
Gwenpool and stuff like that.
Who are we looking at in this? Obviously, we have Miss Marvel. We have
starting from the left. You got Kate Bishop. You got Riri Williams.
Oh, that's Riri up there. Okay.
You got America Chavez, and hidden down there, Sean Astin looking son of a bitch is Kid Loki.
Kid Loki. Okay.
And they've also talked about having the Maximoff brothers.
Oh, and I did not know that Xochitl, that's what's her name up top right? She won Dancing with the Stars this season. So good for her. I watched Dancing with the Stars. Screw you guys.
Strictly Come Dancing, damn it.
You assume we're going to make fun of you because you watched Dancing with the Stars?
Great story. Compelling and rich.
Have you met the guys on this panel? Come on.
Yeah. Not a big Dancing with Stars fan, but that's good she got out there. I don't know. It's been interesting to see whether they actually pull that character back and use her in some way again. I would think they would, but
what about the one kid from the Captain America series? There,
Bradley's nephew or grandson.
Yeah,
grandson.
yeah.
it
Would
easily fit into Iron Patriot.
So, Kid Loki, it's a dude, right? It's a little boy, teenager,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's going to be the butt of every joke, right? Is that what we can assume? Dom's not here, so I got to say it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
I would hope so.
Well, you still got the twins to add to the team.
Yeah, but you can't make fun of Wiccan. And
Cosmic's upset with you for spoiling the Dancing with the Stars finale.
Yeah.
I think it ended months ago. I just watched
he had
it
a
on
DVR. He was going to get to it. It was on his DVR. You know.
It was on his TiVo.
Little spoiler alert. And now what we've been waiting for here, Rebel Moon has finally arrived. So I figured we would sit and we would talk about some, early reactions and first thoughts about it.
In my opinion, that sucked.
Okay, so
Playoffs.
we're gonna have to contend with that all throughout.
Playoffs.
It stinks.
I don't know anybody
Listen to the
that
beam.
watched the other show earlier on Brewster's channel kind of knows what we all think about it. Sticks, have you watched it?
I watched it last night with
Yeah, he watched it with us.
MCM.
We did a watch party.
I wasn't invited. Okay.
I fell asleep twice, so I
chat.
wouldn't have been. I fell asleep twice watching it, so I wouldn't have been any.
Are you subbed to Max's channel?
Probably not. I don't think so.
There you go.
Hey, Dan, a member for Max's channel.
I warned everybody on Brewster's show earlier I was going to use the same analogy I used then, so I'll use it again since maybe we have at least a slightly different audience. I thought this show was okay. So the analogy I used earlier was if Star Wars and Dune had 3 children, you would have one child that had all the good attributes, one child that had all the bad attributes of both, and then you would have Rebel Moon kind of right in the middle. So that's kind of where it was. It was good. I liked it. I'll watch part 2 when it comes out. A lot of Star Wars similarities, like we discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But it has some cool stuff too. I think a lot of the scenes, even though they might have been Star Wars ripoffs or whatever, some of them they actually did better than Star Wars, even though it was kind of the same deal, the same, objective to the scene. I think maybe they did it better. So I don't know. It was good. It was. Snyder loves his slow motion. You're gonna have
agree.
to, if that's going to bother you, then I'll save you 2 hours. Don't watch it. He loves it a little too much, and you're going to get.
I was thinking. I almost considered watching it in 1.5 speed, just so I wouldn't have to watch the slow mo, because there's that much of it. It's unnecessary how much he uses for everything. And to me, when you use slow mo that much, you're using it to mask deficiencies in other things.
There's that. There's possibly that, and I almost think. I mean, Snyder is not dumb to what people say. I almost think he's trolling people.
Well, also, Snyder has a huge dedicated fan base. He makes his movies for his fan base. He knows his fan base will stick behind him no matter what he does.
Yeah, well, those people need to tell him, hey, stop doing all that goddamn slow-mo. You don't have to do it every 2 seconds in a show. You could do it once or twice for dramatic effect, but you don't need to slow-mo every 2 minutes of the movie. And it is literally every 2 to 5 minutes, there's slow-mo used in the movie. Yeah. There's lens flares constantly throughout the movie, unnecessarily. Why do you have lens flares in space? It doesn't make any damn sense. Except for your FX are cheap and you're trying to hide stuff.
I don't. Well, tell them, Bruce, first, since you brought it up. At least our protagonist in this story.
She had more training than Luke will ever have.
There you go.
She was trained from the time she was 3 years old, taken and trained for years to be elite.
Yes. So a lot of people thought she was going to be, what's it, a Mary Jane, whatever. That she was going to be a Rey, basically. And no, it's not the case. We actually understand and got the story of how she is trained and how she is the fighter that she is. Yeah.
I will say this. He did give a lot of backstory and a lot of world building in this movie. Most movies don't give you this much world building.
No.
There were some scenes. Well, we hadn't even got to Sticks yet, so I'm curious. But there were some scenes that were. Did we need that? Like the whole ripoff of. I say ripoff, but the whole Pegasus riding Pegasus, taming Pegasus.
Oh, the Griffin
scene.
Yeah.
Did we really?
Like I said, we had a cantina scene. We had Harry Potter / Pegasus riding scene. We had their take on Seven Samurai. We had their take on Yojimbo. It was, I don't know. It didn't feel very original.
To be fair, Star Wars isn't an original concept anyway.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I'm not saying it is, but that was in 77. those themes and those things were done in 77. This is 2023, and this is a property that was supposedly written and kind of pitched 20 years ago.
Yeah, I had to check myself because part of me didn't want to hate it, and part of me I'm not a Star Wars fan. Part of me, so in one of the opening scenes when we see her out tilling the field, plowing, and we see how close that other planet is to this, I was like, damn, that planet is pretty close. Is that? I mean, the gravity alone, would that work? I mean, it would be. And then I had to stop and think. Wait a minute, Tatooine has 2 suns. How the hell does that fucking work?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I've heard before this movie came out. I heard a lot of Star Wars fans decided they're not going to like it before they saw it.
I did not watch it with Star Wars in my mind at all. I wanted to just watch it as a movie, standalone. I don't really care enough about Star Wars.
I tried to do that.
To care. I was more annoyed by some of the just basic crappy tropes.
I'll look up at
from
Sticks.
Seven
What did you
Samurai and
think?
stuff like that.
Well, Jedi, thanks for asking. I tried to look at it. Don't look at it because I knew it was it was pitched as Star Wars. Problem was every time something kind of came in, I was like, that's kind of Star Wars-esque.
There's a
Or
cantina.
the cantina. You got your cantina. You got
And not only do you have a
I don't know.
not only do you have a cantina. Yeah.
Be thankful we
Yeah.
didn't get pod racing,
Yeah.
unless that's.
Well, that Griffin did go through all that canyon.
And not only did you get a cantina, you got a cantina where they're looking for a guy with a ship.
I was waiting for them to cut that one guy's arm off.
Yeah. Someone was gonna tell him you can't drink here.
Instead of getting the one guy in the bar that he doesn't like you, we got the guy that he wants to.
Yeah.
He wants to nail you.
Yeah. Come on upstairs. You'll forget about everything after I'm done with you. There you go, Jesus.
Like I said, I just
People do have sex in space. There's rape in space.
and that's all.
We know that
good
now.
and dandy. But I just thought he could have been a little more original with what he was putting out there. It felt like he was just pulling from tropes from Star Wars, from Kurosawa stuff.
You think that's why Disney turned it down? You think that's like, well, this is just Star Wars. What are you doing? You're gonna do Star Wars in another galaxy, in another part of the galaxy. That's
you got to realize this was very adult themed. This is PG-13. The
so you think that's why Disney turned it down?
Yeah.
How'd you feel about M. Bison as the bad guy?
I think he was a great bad guy.
He was
like him as a bad guy.
He was very dislikable. So that's
he's a bad guy.
I know that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You want to hate.
He was such an asshole. I wanted him dead like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
We had the Sisters of Dathomir, or the Sister of Dathomir.
Yeah.
But I will say this: a lot of people said the pacing was off, and it just felt like it was incomplete because Netflix interfered.
You know what?
Zach said that the rated R version you'll feel like it's a different movie.
You're on a first name basis with him now, Bruce?
Yes. After I trolled Max last night and tell him about how bad it was.
I don't like him. He seems to constantly complain, "Oh, studios did this to my vision." It seems to be a recurring theme at this point with him.
It's only ever happened once before, and that was.
You think we're going to get the director's cut of this?
No, it was announced.
Yeah, we're getting the R-rated. We're getting the R-rated version in February.
Yeah.
Netflix had to put out a family-friendly version for.
That's right. Now that you say that, I do remember. Yeah.
Because if you watch it, I mean,
why the fuck did I watch it last night then?
No blood in it.
Because you'd have to wait until February for the R-rated version.
Yeah, and then the next part doesn't come out till April. So what the hell?
Well, I'll forget everything in this one by February. That's just kind of how
I don't really know how an R-rated version would have made it that much better.
What?
Well, there's an hour worth of content removed from it, so it could be 2.5 hours. So it's going to be 3.5 hours when the R-rated version comes out.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know.
Everything's already shot.
That.
Everything's already shot. So
I just don't I don't know how you cram another hour into that movie, unless it's a lot of flashbacks and origin stuff.
it could be more with the Blood Axe brother and sister. Blood Axe.
Yeah, Blood Axe.
Yeah.
That
Could be that. You could get backstory. I mean, I feel like maybe we're doing. We should have ran the spoiler alert, but I wouldn't mind some little bit of backstory on the Dathomir, the ninja chick. Because, like I said, I don't understand why they waited so long to kill that freaking that spider.
It pissed me off so much. It's like,
that spider creature was pretty cool.
It was cool, but I'm like,
it was cool. It was even cooler when it was the Borg Queen. But and that's all I could think of when I was staring at that. I was like, that's the Borg Queen, which is fine. It was still a cool creature. I just
and I still
alert,
say
when somebody pulls out.
When
somebody pulls out
the little
swords.
bug creature that was controlling the guy with its tentacles, I thought that was cool. That's like one of the coolest things in the movie.
I thought that was a brain.
That was creepy as fuck.
Was that a brain? It looked like a brain with
I think it was a separate creature.
Yeah, it's a completely separate creature because it scampered off.
Because it was attaching itself to the carotid right there at the neck.
Yeah, that was creepy. So
that was
for creeping me out. Yeah,
I don't want to go.
There's definitely there's definitely stuff in here that's enough to be different, but there's still a lot of stuff that he uses in his story wise that this is this and this is from that, and your spider lady there, that's Queen of the Arachnos from Doctor Who or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I've watched Seven Samurai and Magnificent Seven enough to see a picture where a team is put together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if that's what it is, that's what this part is. And so be it. I'll watch the next one to see where it goes. But
no, he did. Damn it. I was going to say, never mind. I'm going to say at least the pilot they found didn't have a 7-foot hairy sidekick.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It felt there were no twists. There was no moment where I was like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
There was a couple. There was for me anyway, but
but if you look at Dune, was there anything originally in it?
Dune?
Yeah,
Dune.
It's visually.
I think it was all original.
It was
really.
Absolutely
You don't think it borrowed from other sci-fi shows and movies that came out before it?
No, because it followed the book. The book any of those sci-fi shows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I find Dune to be, Dune is dense. Like the whole lore behind Dune is like super dense and not necessarily cinematic in terms of.
Yeah, you got 5 original books from
Herbert. Herbert, yeah, and then the
kid. 7 from Kevin J. Anderson. So.
Yeah, and it goes weird directions, and all we've really seen, I'm not going to count the sci-fi series, was...
No, please don't.
Yeah. All we've ever seen is really the first book.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm a big Dune fan, and Villeneuve, that the cinematography in Dune is beyond amazing. I'm not talking about Lynch's Dune, but Villeneuve's, the way that movie is filmed, you feel the depth and expanse, and it is something. It pulled the scenery and the way it is shot pulls you into it. I didn't get that from this, but then again, this is it's just a streaming movie, but it just didn't have that I watch Dune and I think of like old John Huston Westerns. There's a vastness to it when you're watching it and the way it's filmed. This just felt very self-contained. All the space scenes to me felt very cheap looking. I was fine with the special effects of the close-up stuff and all the one-on-one stuff, but all the space scenes to me just felt very cheap.
Plasticky, like very
And it's
cookie cutter.
the lens flare too always pisses me off, but it just felt cheaper. It felt like sci-fi series. I was like, am I watching Farscape? Nope. Rebel Moon. Only not as funny. But I'll still watch the second movie. I'll still watch the R-rated version. I'm hoping when I watch the R-rated version, it fills in a few things or does a few things in there.
Get rid of those camera flares because it's R-rated.
Yeah, I know he's not going to get rid of the stupid slow-mo and camera
More
flares.
camera flares.
But he loves his goddamn lens flares. But if they wouldn't have had all the slow motion, this would have been a tight less than 2 hour movie. But because of all the slow mo, because it is literally every 2 to 5 minutes, there's significant amounts of slow mo for no reason. It loses all dramatic effect when you do it every 2 minutes.
Don't you get the feeling that if he did like a Dinty Moore commercial, there'd be like tons of lens flare and a slow motion person?
Oh yes, the drop of the stew into the it was just.
I thought we were talking about toothpaste. Sorry.
And then
Dinty Moore.
quickly eat it.
Dinty Moore.
Yeah, it's just.
Dinty Moore. Dinty Moore.
It just seems.
I like to brush my teeth with beef stew. That's what I'm saying.
His cinematography seems gratuitous in the tricks that he uses. I don't find it to be like. I see some directors and I was like, okay, stylistically, I know how this director films, and they have a certain feel to the way they film. This to me is not like, oh, this is just his style. This just feels like, here's the cheap tricks I use all the time.
Right.
Doesn't feel like, hey, this is a unique style. It's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah, if the lens flare doesn't fit that moment, don't use it.
Yeah. Like every ship
I can tell by
doesn't
looking
need
at
a lens
Bruce
flare.
that he's had enough of you shitting all over his.
No, this is the third stream that I've talked about Rebel Moon.
Yeah, I know. All right.
I guess twisting this a bit, what would be your expectations for the R-rated version and the next? What do you want out of the R-rated version and then the next one in April? What are your hopes for in terms of what you've seen out of this? What would your expectations be going into the next?
As far as
I'm
the
guessing-
R-rated version, I don't know what I expect to see in that because I don't know what other world building. I mean, he could go back and do more, I guess, like I said, backstory on some of the other members of the team. I think we've seen all the backstory we need for the lady, for the main protagonist. Again, I said this in the earlier show. Let me say it now. Maybe this is what we get. I doubt it though. But the opening, of course, instead of doing the Star Wars rolling story, we had Anthony Hopkins telling us the story, and then of course he later voiced the droid. But I was having a hard time. I felt like I needed to go back and listen to them again because that was a lot to take in for the first the first 2 minutes of the movie, trying to get all the background about the death of the king, blah blah blah, murdered. So you're kind of like, okay, well, did I get all that? All right, okay, let's move forward. But did I get all that? I don't know. So maybe we get some of that.
I refuse for things, because people are like, well, it's a complex story and they have to get it all in the beginning. Children's movies have done a better job of setting up a story. The first few minutes of Up is the best intro to give you a full backstory of almost any movie that you'll see. And it's done for children. And within literally 5 minutes, you understand everything about that person that you need to know to then move forward for the rest of the movie. So it's doable.
Up is a great example. There's a video about Up telling you a better love story in like 2 minutes than Twilight did in three movies. So
it's true.
Yeah, I think it's Twilight.
Yeah, you either leave Up in the first few minutes you stayed to watch the rest of the movie. So.
Yeah.
Because of it. So, I had something I was going to say, but now I've forgotten. So, I said the only part I think that they might add in that I thought was that maybe have a big gladiator scene at that one spot when they're with the
with
the general
Titus
there.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Mhm.
and then maybe he had a fight or something, and then they go down and meet with him.
And
That's
maybe we'll get that in the R-rated version. That there has to be something more to that. How do you go to a Coliseum and just bathe a guy and then leave?
And they shaved him too. But did anybody else think it was almost funny that they found that I don't know the actor's name, but he was in the movie Gladiator, right? Does anybody else think it was funny that they found him in a gladiator arena? No, I was the only one that thought that was kind of funny.
I didn't realize it.
ironic. Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
ironic.
I didn't think about it. I didn't know he was in Gladiator. So I do find it ironic that he said it.
He was the friend or best friend of what's his nuts?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some
Maximus
prequel
Decimus Meridius.
There are some prequel comic books coming out, and there's also a video game that's in development.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes with video games.
Well, Cosmic wants a video game.
I mean, it's set up appropriately for a video game with the different characters and the different strengths of the different characters and stuff like that.
I had said last night, I said, when are we getting the Fortnite skins for this? Because that's obviously going to come out at some point.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know.
Blood Axe will make a cool skin.
So I'm guessing the next one that comes out in April, I guess we'll get High Plains Drifter, and they're gonna just paint their whole farming town red. Based on the end of what they showed, and they're training the farmers and everyone to fend for themselves.
That was cool. I like that.
It was just again, it was just. We've seen it in a lot of different movies, and granted, I know a lot of things can be derivative, but it feels like he was like, I'm going to take these 7 movies and just take the parts of them that I liked, and then make this movie.
Yeah,
but instead of just taking themes, just taking those sections literally and just plopping them in.
That sounds like every YouTuber ever taking parts of other places.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, but that's YouTube. That's YouTube. That should happen on YouTube.
Sometimes we steal things. It happens.
All right, let me just say this. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, or X, please head over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel or Rennavision. Thank you very much. Like the video, subscribe, hang out, and watch more to come. Thank you.
And also, while you're there, you might as well also go over and subscribe to Kingdom of Nerds as well. Get a twofer in there while you're there. If you're going to be there, might as well get both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shows are very intertwined.
We're so nice you can sub us twice.
Alrighty. So I wanted to just throw up a little segment where we could just kind of talk about, since some of us have a little bit of time off over the holidays, whatever, probably be going through the streaming services trying to look for something to watch. Just, what type of shows out there, new, old, whatever, that would be a good show to possibly binge during the holiday break. So first up, I went with the complete series for you there, Sticks. So
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I picked Dark Shadows. I mean, 1970 soap opera. I couldn't think of the word. Soap opera about a vampire and his family. Great series. Starts out in black and white, moves into color. The color episodes, I think, are some of the better ones. Some of the earlier black and white, not so much. Towards the end of Black and White, we get this character Barnabas Collins, who is the vampire of the story. He supposedly had died hundreds of years ago, and then comes back from England to the States, and figure out where he's from. You gotta watch it to really.
And don't bust my balls about spelling original there. I don't have any.
I can only speak for myself, but I only get 3 days off for Christmas. I don't know how I'm supposed to watch. This is like a year and a half worth of
this is an investment, but I had to put this one in there for Sticks because the box set in the coffin is pretty sweet.
I believe, if I'm correct, there are 1,278 episodes with Barnabas Collins, because I watched every episode in between school break, before high school to college. I watched every episode in the summer that year.
Only half-hour episodes.
Yeah, you could do. I was doing like
an hour and a half.
A lot of TV time.
You can get through it pretty quick. If you don't want to buy the box set, I mean, you can go over to Pluto TV. They're the whole channel based on Dark Shadows that you can just sit there and have it on and watch. Choose if you like it or not for free. I mean, no one's going to twist your arm to watch this, but I think if you watch it at the right spot, you'll get into it where you want to watch the whole series, really.
And again, I think this is one of the coolest box sets I've seen in a long time. Not only just because it's the coffin, but if you look on top, the way the DVDs are laid out, he is laying flat in the coffin.
Yeah.
So it's
that's fun. It's a great show. I can watch it over and over. Jonathan Freed, amazing actor.
Yeah.
He made daytime TV worth watching back then. People, from what I heard from my grandmother and my mother, people used to stop what they were doing to watch this, rush home to watch it. It was one of the first horror television shows that hit the airwaves.
Yeah. Don't judge it by the Johnny Depp movie.
Oh God, no.
I mean, I don't mind the movie, but I like the series a heck of a lot better than I like that movie. So
that was mean. I'm glad they always mean everybody, not just me.
Yeah, if I'm an old lady, I'll hit you with my bloody Kotex. All right.
And like I say, like Sticks. Oh my. And why if you're an old lady do you have a bloody Kotex?
Because they don't use tampons. They don't use tampons.
Yeah, but you should be past that. You should be past your Menses days. If
you should have had the change.
Yeah. Anyway, you consider old lady 45.
I'm trying to be nice.
Flushing.
She's over the hill at 45. Get rid of her.
When I saw, I'm definitely trying to get this back on track here. So when I saw Sticks put this in our little chat, I read it too quickly. I thought it was what happens in the shadows or something. I guess when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Isn't that the name of the show? What happens in the shadows, or something like that?
Which is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's what I thought he put in. I completely misread your.
And like Stick says, you can find this on some of the streaming services.
And it was one of the few shows that actually ended on a high note with high ratings.
Yep. Long running series. Good pick, Six. Next up, Silo.
I told, and then I kind of forgot. I told him I put this in a private chat with Joe. I said, hey, and that's why I waited before I put my Sticks in. I was like, I know I don't want to take this because in case Sticks is the one that turned me on to this. So if he picks it, I want him to have it, and I'll pick something else. But
I thought you were going to pick it. That's why I didn't.
So this is more recent, not back in the 70s. So this is, and you've heard us talk about it on the show before. So where it's repetitive repetition. Maybe you'll listen. It's on Apple TV. It is a really good series. It's only one season, so it's easily digestible. I don't know how many episodes.
10 episodes.
8 or 10. Yeah,
10 episodes.
It starts off. It starts actually, it doesn't start off that badly. It actually, this show, I mean, it's
kind of hits the ground running.
It's got action, but it's just a steady, intriguing storyline that's built in this story. It's a whodunit. It's a how come. It's a why. I mean, you got all the how, when, why, what, where kind of questions that are posed in this series, and you don't get the answers at the end of. You get some. You get a, there's a what do you call it? The ending, a twist, I guess, at the end. Yeah. That leaves you actually wanting more instead of like being, oh, that's, damn it, I didn't get the answer I wanted. It leaves you with wanting more, actually, even though you're not satisfied. You want more.
They definitely, throughout the series, they definitely tease you with what you think is coming and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then they totally just, slam that in your face and go, no, maybe not quite.
Yeah, because behind the scenes, Sticks and I were talking about this show behind the scenes, and we each had our theories as to what was going to happen, and we were like, "What the fuck? We were wrong."
Yeah. No, I endorse this show as well.
Apple TV is one of the few services I do not have. I have literally every other streaming service except Apple TV, and it might be something that over the holidays I think I might get because there's.
And
you got Monarch on there now, and you got Silo. So I'd say those two alone are worth at least subscribing for a month or two, probably to get
that Foundation. I mean, if you haven't seen it too.
Yeah, I gotta start more of this stuff. Yeah. I mean, you get Ted Lasso's on there. I mean, from what I can tell, Apple TV is really hitting a lot of their stuff out of the park. As far as, even if it's only a one season, that one season is really great.
Yeah, they seem to be more interested in producing quality over quantity, which is a good thing.
But a lot of these shows are made by and produced by Warner Brothers, and they just put them on Apple TV also.
Yeah.
Like Monarch.
Yeah. That's
a good one to check out. To me, this is perfect for a 3-day weekend. Actually, you may even get through it in 2 days. I mean, you could get through this in 3 days pretty easily.
I binged all of Game of Thrones because I had never watched Game of Thrones when it first came out. Never watched it, and then I was way behind, so I was like, well, I'm not going to start now.
That's the dynasty.
And I literally, I do have all of the outdoor channels. But then I believe it was in 4 days, I binged all of Game of Thrones.
Damn.
All the seasons.
Okay.
Jeez.
I was off. I literally was watching for like 18 hours a day, 19 hours a day.
You didn't sleep.
I didn't sleep. And that's why
you wore adult diapers. I mean,
I'm tough with binging. I'm tough. If I'm into something and I really like it, I can't walk away from it. I have to binge it and finish it.
Jeez.
I've only done the binge marathon really once straight through. Is when I started watching. What's that one escape show? It was on Fox, where they're in jail.
Oh, Jailbreak.
Jailbreak.
Yeah.
Prison Break.
Prison Break. That's right.
There you go. That was the only time I stayed up to like. The only time I stayed up to like 6 a.m, going, I gotta watch this next episode. I gotta watch the next episode. And it was like my wife woke up and she's like, "You're still fucking up." I gotta watch the next episode.
It's tough, man. That's the way I am. I binge stuff. I do it all the time. I get a streaming service and I find a few things that I like, and I end up just watching them straight through for hours on end until they're done. Which is.
Are you going to recommend Naked Attraction?
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to recommend Naked Attraction. That's
I already know what Joe's
way too
gonna
many dicks to
recommend.
look at on screen.
Anybody that watches this show on a regular basis knows exactly what Joe is going to recommend on his slide.
I will be recommending something that nobody will watch and nobody will get.
Is it what I think it is? Is it what I think it is?
No,
Oh, it's not like you're throwing a curveball. Okay.
No, I threw a bit of a curveball. Because what I would recommend for this year is still running, so and it runs into next year. So I didn't want to get somebody started on something. I want something that somebody could binge straight through if they wanted to.
All right.
So this is my choice.
What?
What?
Never heard of it.
You people can say what all you want.
I can't look it up.
Phil Noto drew the most amazing picture of this girl. Copenhagen Cowboy. It's Nicholas Winding Redfin, who, again, I love. Valhalla Rising, Drive, Only God Forgives. Amazing director. Put out this 6-episode series on Netflix, and it was amazing. If you like a strong, odd female heroine, this is a show to watch. If you're a fan of David Lynch type-esque things, there's supernatural turns to it. There's a lot of underworld, Copenhagen Mafia type elements to it. It is an amazing, just gritty movie that's beautifully shot. Like I can't even explain it because it is one of the most beautifully shot series of something like this that you will watch, and you will fall in love with this lead character, Mew. You will be like, this is a heroine that I want to see more of at some point. It's like I said, it's a little supernatural, it's a little gritty, Copenhagen underworld. But it's 100% awesome. It's stylistically and visually.
Wait, there's a Copenhagen Cowboy. There's a Copenhagen Underworld. Did I understand you correctly? So
all this thing. It's a Dutchman. It takes place in Denmark. So
is it dubbed, or am I going to have to read?
I do believe it is dubbed, but
will next season be called Kodiak Cowboy?
But it's dark. It's very dark. It's not watered down, as Don would say. It is dark 100% in terms of the scenes that you see and the things that happen. It's dark, but I think if one wants to sit for 6 episodes and watch something, it's an extremely interesting story to watch. And you will be absolutely smitten with this character.
I will read the little brief synopsis that Netflix has here. It says, after a lifetime of being sold as a human good luck charm, a woman with mysterious supernatural abilities seeks revenge against those who wronged her.
Yep. She is known as a good luck charm. So she is basically kept by someone.
I think I saw a porn with that same story.
And and yes, and then when she is betrayed, there's pimps and prostitutes and all kinds of crazy fun things that happen in this series. It is a dark series. It is not a PG-13 type show. But it is enjoyable. I give it was my favorite thing I watched all year in terms of the streaming show. Next to Fargo. I really enjoyed Fargo, but this is a little more artsy, but it is good. So I will enjoy all of you not watching it.
I'll give it a try.
It's interesting.
No
It's like I said, stylistically, it's beautifully shot.
Before I talk about my show, I recommend Yes, BK, I do have every episode of Sailor Moon on Blu-ray, all the movies in Japanese. Thank you very much.
Oh,
All right, my pick was Carnival Row. It's on Amazon. It stars Orlando Bloom. He's a great actor. I love his work. It's literally about magical creatures that their country is destroyed and they come to England and they are put into like a gated ghetto where the women are forced to become prostitutes and the Fae, and it's illegal for them to hold office or have any kind of rights. And if you're half Fae, you're just as bad or worse. And Orlando Bloom is a cop that he falls in love with the fairy that's on the cover. It's really good. It's about war-torn country, politics, and anything that can go wrong in this movie, it does. Corrupt cops. It's great. It's a great series. It went off right. I think it started during the pandemic, and then it came back a few years later, and they actually finished the story.
They did bring it back?
They're done.
Yeah,
I remember when it first came out.
I watched season 1 of this, and I know season 2 was out. I just haven't got, because there was such a big, like Bruce was saying, there was a 2.5 year. I mean, there was a large gap in between, I think, and I really couldn't remember. So now Bruce has reminded me, so maybe I'll be able to watch it, because what I intended to do was go watch a recap on YouTube before I went and watched it, because I had forgotten a lot about. So yeah, so like Bruce was saying, he hit it. It's a good series. I enjoyed
really
season
is.
1. I think I watched it with my wife actually. It does cover a lot of like social issues in its in its storytelling way. Like he talked about the mixing of blood. There's the social standing about not being able to hold office, or you're really not allowed to marry. Obviously, the mixing of blood is illegal, I think.
Yes.
And how that barrier kind of begins to, or it breaks down in some cases, and there's a hatred between the two, but you do see relationships start to form once the two, we'll say the human and the mythical creature, because they're not all fairies, there's others. Yes. So once they get to know each other, they learn to like each other and communicate. So there's a morality to it, I guess. So it's a good story.
For all the people that like supernatural stuff, there's a supernatural element to this show that you will enjoy. Correct.
Because can't the fairies? I'm trying to remember. It's coming back to me. You said the fairies were prostitutes, but isn't there something the fairies can do? They're like they're very good lovers or something. I don't know if they're using their fairy dust or whatever, but can't they like really like
there's something there's something with their wings.
Yeah. There's something that like really like get you off. I'm just saying it is. It just what's coming back to me as Bruce was.
It's a good selling point.
Oh yeah,
they give wing jobs.
I don't know what they do. They don't show it. It's a mystery. It's got me curious.
Yeah.
And Terry's right. There's a monster in season 2 that is freaking badass. Season 2 was way better than season 1.
Oh wow. Okay. No, I definitely got to check. We may start watching it tonight. Then I think we're ready to start something. I think we just ended. Well, maybe not tonight. Maybe because I got to do Monarch and Reacher. I think the new Reacher's out too. So we'll see.
Yeah. I watched it last night after I woke up from watching Rebel Moon.
Yeah, this is a good recommendation, though. Yeah, this is a good show.
This show is forever demonetized.
I'm sure worse things have been talked about on this channel other than fairy sex.
I'm sure it has been.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
And that's just from the chat.
Oh, good picks, boys. Good picks. Gives us all something to think about when looking for stuff, because I know I run out of stuff quite often, and then I just kind of go blank in the brain when it comes to looking for stuff to watch, and then I end up getting another channel like BritBox, because I had to get my 7-day subscription to BritBox so I could binge like 6 shows that are all basically derivatives of the same thing, of some DCI or DCS detective that solving some type of horrible British crime. But
Chapel.
I never.
What was that? Chapel.
Yeah, I've seen that
Whitechapel?
one too. I've seen
Touch of Frost.
I've seen almost every freaking British crime drama, and they're all painfully depressing.
You got to watch Hollyoaks.
Oh God,
I believe I have watched it. It's awful.
No, you don't.
What? Hollyoaks is great. I've been watching it for
Might as well
2
tell
years.
him to watch Ballykiss Angel too.
Oh God, no.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
British soap operas.
No.
Next thing you can tell me to watch Are You Being Served?
I love All You Being Served. I have every episode on DVD.
Watch that.
I
We were
love that
almost
show.
done.
That is
We
a
were
great
almost
show.
to Carla Cohen and one comment.
We got a bunch
right
of Brit
back in.
nerds here.
Yeah. So tonight I wanted to give us a little Carla Cohen spotlight. Just go through some of Carla's covers. I think it's fun sometimes while we go back and do a lot of well-known or legends in terms of looking at an artist spotlight. It's also nice to look at some of the lesser known artists, some of the Cheesecake artists, some of the younger up and comers that might not necessarily be a household name, but again, a lot of these people, a lot of times break through. They start in this type of genre and they work their way into mainstream quite often. Or they just make a big name for themselves in the exclusive market. But figure never hurts to expose people.
Or they marry a very popular.
That doesn't hurt. That does not hurt. That is not.
That
That's
doesn't
not a
take away
bad
from her
thing.
talent at all. Though.
Yeah. No, it definitely doesn't. But no, it's good to spotlight some of these younger artists that, like I said, everybody might not know. I know in many circles, most people know who Carla is, but I was surprised. Bruce didn't know who Carla was, so I was surprised because Carla's done a decent number of DC exclusives recently. So I feel if we can show people somebody different and what they've done out there, maybe it'll, there you go. Nice. It'll get people interested. That way you can, even if you're not buying it, it's nice to be able to see somebody's style, see somebody's signature, and then kind of recognize when you're seeing those covers out there, like, oh, that's a Carla Cohen, that's a whatever. It just makes you a more informed consumer. Mm-hmm. So Carla, young Carla, born in 1994, which made me feel excessively old when I saw that.
Oh,
she is a French illustrator. She specializes in oils. So all of the covers that she really does are oils on boards or canvas. That's not what a lot of people are doing nowadays. So it is a style that I like to see. Because most people are doing digital stuff now. You see a lot of covers that are digital. And that just has a certain feel to it. Oils have a certain feel to it, which, I don't know, just gives it a little more depth and life to it that I enjoy. She is based in Italy. She was mentored by and is married to Lucio Perillo, who I hope everyone knows does quite well in the Vampirella realms and Dynamite incentive cover realms. Also, somebody who works in oils as well. Some of her other influences are Olivia de Barons, Julia Bell, Boris Vallejo, Frazetta, and of course Perillo. So she is also has a great respect for all the original master artist as well. Being European as she is, she's studied across Europe as well. She doesn't really come to the States too often. A lot of the cons she does are overseas and in Europe. She always does Lake Como. So she's always over there for that. But you don't see her in the U.S. much. So if you do see her in the U.S. at a signing or whatever, it's not a bad time to stop over, because it's not all the time that you're going to see her. This is actually her first published cover, is the Archie Forever Sabrina Teenage Witch. Very, very gettable cover. You can still find it quite often online. It was a retailer incentive, I believe, but it still can be found on the eBays relatively reasonably. So she started off with some of the little more saucy things. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Hardly Thin title, which is a good Cheesecake title, which is, parodies of Harley Quinn and other popular characters. But she started to also get some work in the incentive realm, and that's one of her early Red Sonjas. She continued on. She's been getting a little bit of work from Xenoscope, but it's not all Cheesecake that she does. She does do other things. She had that really good Call to Dracula cover, which was kind of creepy. Also had an Ice Cream Man cover there, which I thought was fun. Like I said, she was getting a good bit of work from doing most of what she does are retailer exclusives, which I'm guessing just seems to be where the money is. She's just gets a few A and B covers here and there, but most of her stuff ends up coming through retailers. I'm guessing, being over in Europe, whatnot, it's just easier commission wise to have someone reach out to her and work in that fashion. But she had some good Xenoscope covers, and quite a nice Miss Meow cover there as well. I am a huge fan of her Vampirella stuff. She loves drawing Vampirella. I love her drawing Vampirella. The middle cover I actually have. It's one of my favorite Vampirella covers. It's very haunting looking at. But the level of realism she gets with a lot of her oils are a lot of fun. A lot of the Vampirella covers she has are really fantastic. Some of them when I'm looking at the cover sometimes, and until I see her signature on it, I think it might be a cosplay cover.
Yeah.
Which is a credit to her skill. And I think her stuff has been getting better and better and better. And like I said, I mean, she's really only been doing some of this stuff since like 2018. So, we see a lot of artists. They start off. I mean, you look at the stuff that Hughes did in his first handful of years with like Maze Agencies and Stargrazers and stuff like that. That style is completely different from where he ended up to what he does now. So it's fun to see these artists when they're getting into the industry and kind of mastering their technique and what they're doing, and then how they grow, and then possibly where they'll be in 5 or 10 years is kind of interesting to see. She did these bookends here were the Sonya versus Vampirella exclusive covers that she did, which were kind of fun. This is a Draculina cover that she did. She really seems to enjoy doing the Sonya and the Vampirella covers, which she seems to get a good bit of work from. She had a long run of covers on Invincible Red Sonja, which were all very nice. They're some of my favorite Red Sonja covers. They're quite nice. Again, a few of these, when I look at them, I thought they were cosplay covers. Yes, I do. I rub the lotion on the skin because I do not want to get the hose again. That's for AOA. She did a nice run on Barbarella. Like I said, a lot of her work ends up being through Dynamite or exclusives, retailer exclusives for Dynamite titles. But I like when people get a run of covers, whether they're exclusives or whether they're incentives or whatever they are. I like when I can get the same artist, and it's because the same for DC or whatever. They do it with Catwoman a lot. They'll give the artist at least a 4 or 5 issue run to be able to put together a nice little run of covers, which I think is fun because you get to see some variety and stuff like that from the artist. Again, did cool Victory, a couple covers for that Victory series from Dynamite, which is really good. I love the Nashina, Queen of the Jungle cover. I have that one. It's one of my favorites. She also did a Nice House on the Lake exclusive. And you are going to be seeing more of her. You see more of her in DC than anything else. I don't know if she's done any Marvel stuff that I can really speak of, but I've been seeing her with a lot more DC exclusive work. So this Catwoman is one of my favorite Catwoman covers. I think it's just great. She did one of the covers for Wonder Woman Black and Gold. She did that beautiful Naomi season 2 cover exclusive. She does seem to do a lot of Harley. So you got some good Harley Quinn covers with her, and her covers with Ivy are good as well. Like I said, she just seems to keep getting better and better as time goes on. And that's why it's kind of fun to see these people in the infancy of their career kind of mastering that craft and building things out and getting better and better, having more and more composition to their works, more and more different poses. It doesn't feel as stale as they grow as an artist. And I'm sorry, I think this Supergirl is just the bee's knees. I think that's an amazing cover. It is the cat's meow.
How old are you?
Oh, Richie Cunningham is the bee's knees.
Wow.
My God, you're talking like you're Sticks' age.
But you can see, again, and we'll get into this in the next segment for my defense of Cheesecake. These artists break in to these categories, and a lot of them stay in that realm. Perillo, he does a lot of other stuff that pops up here and there for other titles, but he still stays in kind of that Dynamite realm of stuff that he does. He's built a very successful career there. But a lot of these people get their start in Cheesecake, in making these sexy covers and stuff like that, and they make their transition into a lot of mainstream titles. And we'll be talking about that in the next segment, but it's not uncommon. So I don't like when people are dismissive of the Cheesecake genre in general, because it does birth a lot of the people that 15, 20 years later we see as mainstream comic artists that you see doing tons of covers that you don't relate back to necessarily to their old work, but that's definitely where they got their start. And I do love that Power Girl as well. Although some people have issues with her tit spacing, but I love the cover in and of itself. I think it's a great cover. And that, in a nutshell, is Carla. And I guess kind of to close out, I wanted to pose the question, can Comic Cheesecake survive? A lot of people have said it's a niche, that it might not, it's not something that's sustainable maybe within the hobby, or it'll ebb and flow, or might be popular now, but might not be popular later. So I figured we would just have a discussion. I'm going to state my case, and then we can just have kind of an open discussion about it. So through the ages.
What the fuck?
Through the ages,
Where'd you get my homework?
Cheesecake
man
Cheesecake and erotic art has been popular. Back to ancient Egyptian times. This is back in Pompeii, throughout Middle Ages, through the Renaissance. Erotic art has always flourished. Always. Even up into more modern times. Good girl art, bad girl art, all kinds of erotic art of this nature has always flourished. It's always been niche, but it has never gone away, because as long as these things exist, there will be men to consume them.
What the hell?
That is a body that was found in the wreckage, or in the remains that was excavated from Vesuvius.
Hey,
That man was looking at some cheesecake.
when you got 30 seconds to live, you better live. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
I don't know how the Lou would feel about you calling some of their masters of art, masterpieces of art, cheesecake. But
that is what they are. Good girl. It's all variations of the same theme. It's appreciation of the female form. What was scraped off in the wall in Vesuvius that you saw there on the mosaic was actual erotic art. There's erotic art that goes back, again, millennia. And this art form has persevered over thousands, not hundreds of years, not decades, thousands of years in one way or another. This art form has persevered. I'm talking back from ancient Egyptian times, Sumerian times, Hittites. You go back that far, this type of art existed. So it has a long history. That means it's not going away. There's always some type of...
I want Joe on speed dial if and when my wife ever does see some of my...
Hold on, you gotta talk to Joe.
It's art, God.
It is true. There is some part of the snake brain
It's not
that
mine. I'm holding it for a friend.
always people love beauty. Men, women, it doesn't matter. People love beauty. And beauty makes itself known in different art forms, be it sculpture, be it comics, be it, oil paintings, whatever. It's something that perseveres across time. It's a constant across all time that people like attractive things.
Are you done making your case?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
I got a few more slides. It has popularity across all media.
This is a short show.
This is short. You can take a little culture for a couple minutes. It's popular. It has popularity across media. The art form exists across media, be it film, be it paper media, be it three-dimensional media. It exists across. It's not a niche within our hobby. It is something that has universal appeal across all media. So it ain't going anywhere. It also allows entry into our hobby for a large number of artists. Remember, if you're going to look for Art Germ's first cover, guess what? It ain't in Marvel and DC. It's a Zenescope book. So understand that a lot of the major artists that we love now that get tons of cover work and mainstream stuff, they cut their teeth in the cheesecake market. This is a market that gives a lot of artists that are breaking in a chance to get their art seen by a larger audience within the hobby, and have that chance to break into mainstream for a Marvel or a DC or an Image or one of the major publishers. And finally, it is a growing segment of our hobby because the crowdfunding segment, if you look at any Kickstarter, it's not the boring books that are getting fully funded within Kickstarter.
It's the booby books.
It is the Cheesecake segment. And
Oh,
like
one
it or
second.
not,
Let me cut in here. How long does it take to usually get a book from one of these Kickstarters? A year, year and a half?
No. It depends on who's doing it. Paper Films, which is Jimmy and Amanda's company. They've had Kickstarters that start up, they get fully funded, and within a month or two, you have your product arrived.
Yeah,
now,
but that's not all Kickstarters.
No, it's not all
some
Kickstarters.
You don't even, some people haven't received books.
And again,
you're not supposed to get charged until the project is funded, and I mean,
but it's in the same way you have publishers that suck and distributors that suck. Granted, you have a larger number of publishers because this is people doing things on their own, so you are taking a risk. But in the same way, Dark Horse might spit out a Hyperspace Stories 1 month. Then maybe you wait 3 months for another one, even though it's supposed to be a monthly title. We get this with books and publishers and stuff like that all the time. I Black Mask sometimes. It's like, oh, that second print was supposed to be out. Oh, I see it's been in my pull list queue for 9 months. It happens all the time. It's like anything else. There's people and artists that do this that you take a chance with, and when you have good experiences with them, there are people you go back to. Like I said, Jimmy and Amanda at Paper Films, Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiardi, they're freaking pros. They're big names in the industry, but they run their books off a Kickstarter that they do. Popkill was a Kickstarter. Trigger Girl was a Kickstarter. The latest Zorro book was a Kickstarter. And they crank stuff out like nobody's business. Some people are going to do it better than others. Whether everybody does it great or not, probably not. There are people that screw things up and screw people over. But nonetheless, you can't deny it is a growing segment of the hobby. And that segment that is growing is a Cheesecake segment. It's a place LCSs don't want to buy Power Hour and all that kind of stuff all the time. They don't want to put some of the types of books that you'll find from Kickstarters in an LCS. So this is a market that these people have gone to basically publish their own work. And trust me, of any of the Kickstarter groups, the Cheesecake groups have it down. You go, Bad Donut or the Gaslighter titles, stuff like that. They constantly are putting out Kickstarters. They're constantly running them. They're constantly fulfilling them on a regular basis.
Let me ask you this. In the current market, do they hold value?
Some do, yeah. You go to eBay right now, look up Shikari. And you look up Shikari covers, which are almost predominantly all Kickstarter covers. And you will see some high value books. Not all of them do. Mm-hmm. But guess what? 95% of the bullshit that we have off a pull list every week from an LCS doesn't hold its value either. Yeah. So it's a matter of supporting creators you like or artists you like. I mean, for me, a Kickstarter, I will look through a Kickstarter and I will see what artists are in there. Sometimes, like I said, with Paper Films, you'll find some Hughes stuff. That Dave Stevens DVD that I got, there was a Hughes cover in there. That's the first time Hughes ever did a cover for Rocketeer. You're not going to get that anywhere else except for Kickstarter. So you can find unique things. Like I said, everything's not for everybody, and there are bad actors just as well as there's good actors. But like I said, you will see those projects that get funded like that are on Kickstarter are normally by people that have fulfilled
those are
on a regular basis. So, counterpoints. Anyway.
Oh, I don't have counterpoints. I agree. I think, I mean, you covered the Kickstarter piece, that Cheesecake titles. I mean, I shouldn't use Cheesecake covers, really.
Yes.
Are funded pretty quickly on there. But I spend too much time on Whatnot, and a lot of these sellers that I watch their streams, in addition to putting out the weekly Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday drops, they spend a lot of time selling what are considered, cheesecake covers. You talked about some of them, Hardly Thin, all the other. There's a lot of them. I mean, I just showed a couple earlier that, Miss Meow, a lot of those.
Yep.
And those things sell pretty steadily on Whatnot. Now the more expensive ones, like the metals and stuff, those might linger around, but the paper, the foils, those things sell pretty steadily, and it's not dirty old men like me that are buying them. I'm an old, if you're on the chat and Whatnot, you're kind of chatting back and forth, and you see some of the comments, I find out pretty quickly I'm the old guy in the chat. A lot of the people buying these are 30s, maybe low 40s, maybe down into the 20s, but ideally like maybe 35 to 45, I would guess, just based on the comments and some of the things they say. So yeah, I think the future of Cheesecake is safe, at least for another generation or so.
Yeah, and like I said, there's artists that make a killing. I don't see too much Shikari or Sun Kumatani work outside of Kickstarters. I don't.
Be asking.
But everyone loves Shikari. There's a Shikari. If Shikari's doing a cover in a Kickstarter, that thing funds. You will
see people in the chat. They're not just waiting for the next pair of tits to pop up on the screen. That's what I want. They're asking for these artists. They're saying, "Do you have Shikari? Do you have Tyndall?" They're asking.
Yep. It's a very
artists. They know who these artists are, and
it's a very artist based and artist draw for a lot of this stuff. People gravitate toward the artists more so than the titles and anything else about the titles.
And you have artists. One of the guys I collect, Greg Horn, who routinely does what we'll just throw in air quotes as legit comics, right? Your Marvel, your DC, a lot of DC.
Yep.
The covers he does are probably a lot of people would consider those Cheesecake covers. They're buxy, bosom. What do you call it? They're chesty women.
He did Marvel, right? He did. Hold on. Let me grab this. Yeah.
He. You can tell when you watch him, he enjoys that. He enjoys producing those kind of covers. And he's a very well known, established comic artist. He's not a beginner.
No, he's not.
And lest we cast a stone at non-major publishers. Let's see here. Remember, Marvel had this little title.
Mm-hmm.
That's Greg Horn.
Yep.
And this is Cheesecake. And it's put out by a major publisher. And trust me, this is a series that people look for, So it's not something that's really just limited to the off publishers and stuff like that. It makes its way into mainstream. I mean, trust me, which titles are hot every week? Do you think people are really buying Catwoman and Poison Ivy to read them?
Harley, yeah.
And Harley, because trust me, there hasn't been a good story in Harley Quinn in a long time. People are buying covers. And it's normally Harley Cheesecake covers that are moving those books. So,
No, I agree. I mean, I'm kind of new to the game as far as collecting that kind of. I mean, I collected Star Wars for so long until I just got bored with it, and then of course met Joe and started talking and listening to stuff he says, and started paying attention to what's selling on a lot of these venues like Whatnot. Looking at what some of the stuff they're selling goes for on eBay. Now it's a niche audience a lot of times, especially if you're selling something on eBay. You won't just see like 100 of these things sell in a week. It's a niche. They sell, but it's a niche audience. So
I will say this: Cheesecake covers do turn off a large segment of the comic book community. People don't want to know about them. They don't want to see them. When I first started on my show, I suggested to the guys, "Oh, do you guys want to do these covers?" They buy them, but they don't want to talk about them or put them on streams, or they don't agree with the covers or whatever. Like some people buy them and they sell them to
streams with Mormons. What's going on?
They call. I'm not going to say who it was. He said, "I will buy these all day long to sell to these simps." That's what,
people,
and that's a sell on Whatnot. Sometimes I think they go too far, especially when they do Betty, Veronica, and Sabrina. These are teenage girls in high school, and they're doing covers like that.
I'm sorry, Pep from the 1940s had sexual innuendo covers.
But that's the 40s. There's a different time now.
I don't think anything that's really going on with. I mean, Betty and Veronica have been in swimsuits and stuff like that for years. I don't think
have you seen these store exclusives of Betty and Veronica?
Yeah,
and how far they go?
None of the good ones go that far. Yeah. None of the ones that really sell go that far.
I kind of want to see what you're talking about.
You don't want to see them. Trust me.
I have a stack.
Or what they did to Wednesday. Those covers were. Oof.
Well, yeah, the Wednesday one is a little weird. Betty and Veronica have always been cartoons. They've never been humans.
I don't think this will ever be mainstream. I think this will always be a niche.
Oh, it's definitely a niche.
Pick up.
It is definitely a niche, but I think it's an unnecessarily disrespected niche within the community.
I think to Bruce's point, when your character is definitely a teenage or younger character, that really shouldn't be a cover for that character.
Then can you have a horror cover? Can you have Betty and Veronica horror covers where there's violence? Can you have
violence is different than
that's different than underage girls being put on covers.
Yeah. I don't even know who the audience is or who the artist is on this, but this is something probably Bruce is talking about. So this is a Flintstones cover, obviously. This is the nice one because I buy nice ones. There is a naughty of her topless.
Who is that supposed to be?
It's supposed to be Betty from Flintstones.
Betty or Veronica, whatever their name is. One of the Flintstone wives. I can't remember their names.
Well, Wilma and Betty. Wilma's the redhead.
Yeah. So I have the other one somewhere, but like I said, I bought this, but I bought the nice. There is a naughty of this one where she is topless. The same with the other one.
See, I see very few. I definitely see very few Archie heavily sexual,
maybe because
naughty nice type.
Maybe because I'm in a lot of Discord groups and chats on Instagram, and they bring up they'll post these comics and be like, look how far this person went, or this is gross, or this is disgusting.
Always something that goes too far. I mean, but I don't think pop art in kind of Cheesecake fashion is necessarily exploitative. I mean, that's Betty, or that's Veronica. I don't think those are.
Yeah, those are not the covers we're talking about.
I mean, even more skimpily dressed. She's dressed as Wonder Woman. You know, I mean, I don't know. There's always going to be people that take things too far. There's tons of books that take things too far. One has to question, is that indicative of the niche as a whole?
Well, if tons of people are lining up on Whatnot to buy these covers that are taking it too far, then yes, it is the hobby at that point.
I mean, how many people are really lining up to buy those covers on Whatnot?
A lot.
Whatnot sells everything.
They sell out. They sell out.
There's sellers on Whatnot that sell Playboy magazines. So.
Well, I mean, they sell a lot, but again, most exclusives are pretty limited in terms of the numbers. So, I mean, you sell 50. If there's 50 total, are they selling all 50 on Whatnot? I don't know. I think there's definitely things that could take things too far, but you can say that about almost any niche in the hobby. Things that go too far. That Department of Truth baby on a plate cover, people could say that's going too far, and that turns a lot of people off. But it is what it is.
So here's is this a comic? This is a.
Yes, the
Betty and
Penthouse
Veronica
comics are coming out.
Betty and Veronica Friends Forever Game On, #1 exclusive. There's no nudity. I mean, there's some provocative poses. I don't know if you want me to share this or not, but I mean, there's nothing.
I mean,
Thanks. You've seen the covers around, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. It's not every book. I mean, it's not. It's just there's a choice few that have come out.
I mean, I'm sorry. Are you going to be offended by a Phoebe Cates homage of Veronica? That to me is a nostalgia.
But what you're failing to realize is, even though those store exclusives are a niche within a niche, they are looked at as the whole of Cheesecake covers. That's the way it's always been.
I think things.
Things
are expanding more than that.
You know, this book sells a dime. Oh, or we're not getting enough views. Let's throw Cheesecake everywhere. That's what happens.
I don't know if things are expanding or if the availability is expanding.
It's becoming more mainstream. I would definitely say it's becoming more mainstream. Right. You have far more Cheesecake-esque covers from DC coming out on a regular basis than you ever had in the past.
Yeah,
Right.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, I think I found them.
I mean, Zerdy was on the Hot 10 this week. It was a sexy cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about sexy. It's about crossing that line where naughty nice, where it's characters that should not be in naughty poses. Well, nude.
And I get that. I get that. To me, it's like it's a niche within a niche. It's a subgenre within a genre. I think Cheesecake is a larger tent than Naughty and Nice. I don't think Naughty and Nice necessarily.
If Jedi is turning red,
I'm just saying the things I really had to do a very specific search to find what I'm looking at here, and I have never seen anything like this on. I mean, this is a very like Joe said, this is a niche within a niche within a niche to get down to something like this. This is, I mean, and I'm not going to Jedi said their own, but
like Jedi said earlier, you've never opened any of those books, have you?
I know
I've
opened
some of them. I know what's in it. Some of them they'll tell you what's in it. They're art books, and they'll flip through them on the stream. So
I could tell you right now, some of the stuff that's in those books is far less explicit than stuff I've gotten from Vault or other regular publishers or Black Mask. I can tell you right now, 100%, I have covers that are far more explicit from Black Mask and Vault than some of the Cheesecake stuff. It's not just.
Yeah.
There's a certain main.
I'm going down a rabbit hole I need to climb out of, man. This is,
yeah.
FBI be knocking
Clear
at your door.
your
man.
browser history.
FBI be knocking at your door.
You see the word hensha by just about every one of these. So I think these are
Hente, right?
Hentai.
hente. Sorry, hente. I'm
That's
not saying
Japanese.
that right.
You're on the wrong page.
Indian.
Get off that page now.
I need to clear my browser
Abort.
history.
Abort.
But again, there is
After
it's like anything,
after you keep going, a certain word pops up, and FBI will come knocking at your door.
but again, there's there's magazines. Like I said, there's Playboy, and then there's Swank. There's different levels of everything within a niche. And there's some things that, yes, are going to go too far. Like I said, there's stuff in mainstream comics a lot of times that go too far from a horror standpoint, from a story standpoint, whatever, that are going to turn certain people off. I don't think you can throw the whole niche under the bus because
what do you think?
A few of them.
I understand what you're saying, Joe. I think horror and sex are two different. I mean, you can't. I don't.
Because in America, we've normalized violence and stigmatized sex.
Well, that's the culture we live in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people fight about it every day about how it's wrong.
Rightfully so in some circumstances.
I mean, I guess it's all the different media, whether it's Betty and Veronica in or whatever, Wednesday or whatever. Obviously, I mean, there's different consumer base for some of them. I mean, it's just like they're going to buy it. It doesn't mean that it's all like that. It's just like, okay, I'm just going to make the comparison. There is porn, and then there are porn parodies that probably play on a lot of the things that you would find sacred, as far as like, they shouldn't make it, they shouldn't do that for a Addams Family or whatever. I'm surprised they do.
Yeah, but those actors are 18 plus. They're drawing these characters like they're teenagers.
Like I said, that's not any part of the niche that
I haven't seen that.
Nor that the part of the niche I'd be ever interested in. But and I think there should be a line that one, I think, within just good taste shouldn't cross.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you could say that about
for every
anything.
one person that loves cheesecake, there's 20 people that don't want anything to do with it. So I don't think it will ever become mainstream. And it really won't, especially those naughty and nice covers.
And for every one person that likes soccer, there's 20 people that think it's a boring sport. It happens. There's niches. There's people that are going to like certain things. There's people that love DC and hate Marvel. There's people that love Marvel and hate DC. There's people that are turned off by certain Marvel characters. There's people that love certain DC characters, and you're always going to have segments of people that are not interested in something or turned off by something or have no desire to read one genre or another genre. It's a big tent. It's a big tent hobby where everything isn't for everybody. Should there be a certain level of standards and decorum, I think, for certain things? Yes. Yeah. But that's my personal belief. If somehow they get away with it, they are somehow getting away with it. I don't understand that, but
we're trying, Cosmic.
yeah, like I said,
It's obviously they're varying opinions.
Like I said, I think it's a broad genre where you have some things that, again, teeter on a little too graphic or a little too whatever. That's why I'm like Jedi. I don't buy graphic covers. I normally buy the nice versions of the covers because that's what I like. I grew up enjoying 1940s and 1950s pinup stuff and stuff like that. That's what I like. That's the type of cheesecake that I like. That's the artists I look for. And again, it's a very artist driven, for the most part, for the most people that are collectors because they like the art. Most of them are artist collectors. They gravitate towards certain artists that they like, and then that is what they collect. It's not necessarily a certain genre of things or things like that, but I don't know. I've never heard of anybody really going crazy about Betty and Veronica, but because they're Archie characters. And again, there have been sexual innuendos with Betty and Veronica since the 1940s that have been innuendo. And truthfully, I'd say 99.9% of what you will see for Archie stuff, if it is saucy in any way, it's about as saucy as a bikini cover, like a beach cover that you would see in a regular Archie book that can go on the shelf of an LCS anyway. So
right, they throw stuff into even like Toy Story cartoons and things like that are an adult type joke that are for in a kids show. I mean that's so that's not new. Like you say, that's been going on in Archie for years.
Yeah. I mean, Archie's been doing innuendo stuff for years.
That's innuendo. A lot of times, children they don't catch innuendo.
Yeah, it's all they don't.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand. I just don't see. At least, I mean, I guess thankfully, from what I've seen, or at least the places I go to, I haven't seen the stuff that Brewster, other than when I just did that Google search, I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that Brewster described, nor do I want to. So, but yeah,
I think a lot of that's
out there. I don't know. You can't. It's people are gonna do what people do. I guess. Does it hurt the cheesecake niche of comic collecting?
I guess it probably does. It does to a certain extent.
Yes. That is one big reason that LCSs will not carry these books, and they have to go to Kickstarter.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of books they will carry too, but I mean, I wouldn't go to my
LCSs have carried. I mean, it's usually in the plastic bag with the blacks. I mean, but LCSs carry stuff that's been
plain brown wrapper.
Nudity before it's protected. Obviously, the LCS doesn't want a father and child to go in there, and the first wall they see is either boobies or
they're polybagged. They're polybagged. Anything that shows nudity is polybagged. Like I said, I've gotten stuff that's been far more explicit that I bought on a whim from Vault Comics, where they have titles, and same with
is Vault the one that does sex criminals?
I think Image did sex criminals.
I thought Image did sex criminals.
Maybe. Yeah. That's the only mainstream I can think of where they had
Vault does Money Shot.
Like covered up their sexy covers.
But like with Vault, when I get the Vault covers and you buy them, I put them on a pull list. They're bought sight unseen. The Barbaric had some covers too. They come black polybagged. Same with Gun Honey, Heat Seeker. When they have titles that are covers that are a little saucier. They come completely silver polybagged. They're not out there in the open. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't expect a comic shop to be like, hey, I need to order 10 copies of this Naughty and Nice cover. It's just not the niche of an LCS to carry most of that type of stuff.
They might order, like if the person asks for it, they might order it, but they're not going to order extra copies.
Yeah, they keep it behind the counter until that person arrives to take it. Yeah, to buy it. Yeah.
Don't get mixed in with little Bobby's Spider-Man.
Dom is in Sin City, so I don't know if he would object to this. Dom is he's in Sin City right now. So hopefully having a good time with Giggles.
But again, like what was it? What was that horrible, disturbing? Was it Crossed? Wasn't that the series? That was the horror series that was just like way
Ennis, yeah.
Ennis?
It was
way
Ennis, I think.
over the top.
I don't know what the covers look like, but the content was awful.
Yeah,
I mean, it was worse than Preacher. I mean, it was bad.
There's always been some stuff that's been out there, and how one navigates those waters or draws whatever lines, and just follow whatever laws are out there. That's the first step. Outside of that, I don't know what to tell people. You have to look for weird, hard, the type of cheesecake you're talking about. You have to look for it.
Not really. You can just go on Whatnot and find it. You can just go on IG and find it. It pops up.
I don't know. I'm in a lot of streams within IG. I don't have things that pop up like that on ever. And trust me, I post a lot of cheesecake covers. I've never got pulled into that or gotten any of that into my algorithm. I think it's people that are looking for it explicitly that are probably getting pulled in, but I don't know. It's a good point. I mean, it is a good point that there are lines, and it is a divisive subject.
Yeah,
I don't think it's as divisive as you think it is, but you,
I know
again, have talked to people, so
I'm in. I was people would not be on my panel if I was to do cheesecake panels. I was told that first day I did my streams.
That is weird to me. Like I understand.
Whatnot has rules about it, what they can show and what they can't show. I mean, you can show boobies, but you can't show. They
cover that part.
They can sell it, they just can't show it.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't been on Whatnot since it started. So
Joe, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not out there.
No,
there.
I'm not saying it's not out there, and I'm just saying for as many. Granted, most of what I collect is pretty mainstream cheesecake. It's not anything out there.
I just think it's cheesecake covers are very limiting in their accessibility, in their desirability, and you want to bring in a lot more people, and I just think cheesecake covers limits the amount of people you can bring into something.
That's fair. I mean, I think a lot of things can be limiting.
It doesn't narrow your clientele a bit. So
when you say bring into something, what is the something? Onto a YouTube show, onto
shows,
a stream,
into the hobby, to sell stuff as a reputable collector. It's very limiting.
It's a niche. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly more of a niche than Marvel, MCU, or Batman, or any of the main Spider-Man. It certainly is a smaller market than that. Yeah. No.
Matt Baker books still sell pretty well.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is to that point is that, like anything else, you have to go. Sometimes you have to go out and find your audience for what you're selling, no matter what it is. So, I mean, if that's something you're going to sell, you got to go out or know where that audience is, right? So,
yeah. I mean, look at Golden Age covers. There's Golden Age collectors. Good girl art is a significant niche of Golden Age collecting.
Yeah.
It's not an invalid niche. Is it going to turn off some somebody who just wants to see Shadowcat or what iteration of Wolverine they're going to see this week, or who's going to be at the Hellfire Gala? Maybe, I don't know, but it's still it's not an invalid part of the collecting community. If you, like I said, Cal, a good chunk of Golden Age collecting is things that could be considered cheesecake in one way or another. And I if Golden Age comics turns people off, then that's to me that's their problem. Vulgar stuff, I understand. Stuff that is a little too vulgar, I get it.
You know, sometimes I will say, "Oh, I'll say that later." Not mine. I don't share.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's levels of vulgarity that people can find offensive, and I understand that, and I understand that turning people off, possibly to the genre as a whole.
Yeah, I mean,
because of that segment of it. I just think you need to be not you, but I think the person needs to be more informed of that niche and what is there and what isn't there, and some of the history and some of the people that come out of that niche that they later find to be an artist they love. How many people have Art Germ stuff in their box?
Yeah, but when they able to move on to the bigger three companies, they don't go back to those companies to do more cheesecake covers. It's just a stepping stone usually.
Adam Hughes still does Kickstarters. Pop Kill's not cheesecake cover. You know, there are definitely, if the money's there. I mean, the reason you don't go back to it is money. If you're doing major covers with the big three, apparently you're making better money and have better streams of income than having to go back to a Zenoscope or one of those, cheesecake style publishers that might have a ton of different covers. I'm guessing the pay scale is better at those levels. I don't know. We would have to have an artist on to know. I mean, Kickstarter, I'm guessing the money's far better in some cases because they probably have far more negotiation power with Kickstarter as an artist to say, oh, you want me to do a cover for you? Okay. I want X amount for the cover and I want X amount of the profit or the proceeds, and they can negotiate that. That's something they can't really do with Marvel or DC or stuff like that because they'll just say no. So,
right. I don't know how it all works either, but I would think if an established artist, we'll say that has done Marvel or DC or Image or even Dynamite and has solidified themselves as an established, this is what I do. I have opportunities with any one of these companies. If they have a pet project or something that they want to do, then yeah, they would probably still go back to Kickstarter or something. If they, if they're, not to bring it up again, but if they're Zack Snyder and the companies don't want what they got, what their idea is, maybe they go and they do it wherever they can. If that's a Kickstarter, that's how they do it.
You get things like sketchbooks and stuff like that. I mean, I love Frank Joe. I love Frank Joe to death. He gets a ton of mainstream work. You look at a sketchbook. Yeah. It's cheesecake.
I agree with Bruce. Unfortunately, there's always going to be a line that people cross, and it's going to affect everybody, especially those that are in a niche that are considered close to that line, I guess, that haven't crossed it. But yeah, I mean, that's just that's anything really, and it's unfortunate. You just stay away from it, basically.
Now I can never watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High ever again. Because they're high school.
Because
it's depicting fat high school girls. We walk this weird line of standards and where standards are applied and where standards aren't applied, where it counts and where it doesn't count. It gets weird. It gets weird and sticky in terms of where someone can draw a line, how one can draw a line, and who enforces that line. I wish it was clearer. I wish it was a cleaner line, but you're going to get bad actors or people that try to push boundaries. You're going to get that in any form of art. And you do it until somebody pushes back. How they're going to push back, I don't know. But
and we've hit 2.5 hours.
Yes.
I don't know how we did it.
We magically did it.
Yeah.
So interesting, unfortunately serious conversation. But it is an important
you wanted
one.
a discussion.
I did want a
you
discussion. I did. And it is an important discussion to have. There are things that need. If you didn't air your side of the issue, I wouldn't have known how large that segment of the population is that is as adverse to Cheesecake as it is. I mean, that's why we should be doing segments like this every now and then, is to have these conversations, because you're going to tell me something I don't know, and maybe I'm going to tell you something you don't know, and those are important discussions to have. I think it's, like I said, I didn't realize there were so many people that were as adverse to it as they were as a whole, which is interesting to me. But I understand why after you explaining it. Mm-hmm. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I agree why they would be turned off by the vulgar side of it.
If I'm not going to say what Discord group I am in, there was a few months ago, there was a whole big thing about these cheesecake covers and the depiction of Wednesday and Betty and Veronica, and it was heated.
People push. People
were kicked out of the chats. It was bad.
Would you still consider it cheesecake when it's full nudity? Is that still cheesecake? It
is to a certain extent.
I mean, or does it become something different than cheesecake?
I personally feel it does. There's a line to me where it goes from being cheesecake to being something more pornographic.
Right.
I think it's a fine line, and it's a wavy line. Everybody's line isn't going to be the same there, but yeah, I do think there is a line that's crossed. Like I said, I can look at Greg Horn's cover, which was done for Marvel.
Yeah.
And these were put out through Marvel. I could look at something like that and be like, okay, I mean, that is that wrong? It was put out through Marvel. It was put out through a major publisher.
No,
I don't know.
I would consider
what
that
line. What does this cross a line? Is it a line that's crossed? Is it?
I think.
Well,
I don't know.
And I don't know if we want to wrap this up, but I mean, to kind of scroll back to, I think, to Bruce's original point, it was it was some of the covers, at least I think this is your, it was some of the covers that are depicting underaged.
There's laws against that. There's laws against that stuff. Those laws should be enforced.
Not if they say it's a parody cover. That's how they get away with a lot of exclusives.
Yeah, that's still a little.
It's cosplay.
The cover
but the cover cosplayers all the time.
the cover, and I remember seeing this cover, and I'm like, I didn't actually think about it from the aspect that Bruce were thinking about, but talking about the Wednesday cover, if we're talking about one of the same covers, I remember, I think I commented it on, it might have been Mail Call Madness at the time, or I can't remember, but I was surprised how they could do it because of the likeness to the actress.
The actress.
The actress, and or Jenna. The age thing, because, well, I mean, in reality, Jenna is not underage. The character she played is underage. I believe. I may be wrong on that. I don't know how old she is exactly.
No, yeah. Wednesday's supposed to be like 15, 16.
Yeah, but Jenna, I believe, is 18 or older, I think.
I think she might be over that.
Conversation is taking a turn. I am uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, that was...
I started this conversation.
No, I started a conversation about Cheesecake, and yes, I mean, like I said, this is an aspect of it that I thought there were laws to properly police those things.
Right.
Yeah, and
All right.
I wondered about that myself, but not for the reasons. I was more about I thought more of it about the likeness.
The likeness standpoint.
But, I mean, I see the point.
You know, when she was announced for this project, she probably was 17, 16. She's 21 now. Wednesday's been out, what, 2 years? Just about
2 years. Yeah, so she might have been 18.
She
might have been 18.
Yeah.
I don't know when the art was created either, but I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's
had to been after the show.
I mean, I think there's lines of decency that people, law or not, should not just cross. I mean, it's a little skeezy, but we live in a pretty skeezy world where people do skeezy things, not just here but everywhere. Right. That doesn't make it right. But it's not unique to this hobby either. But like I said, it's an interesting discussion to have, whether there should be guardrails, what those guardrails should be. But I don't know. That's a side of Cheesecake I've never even thought about, because it's not a side of Cheesecake that makes any sense to me. Good conversation. Happy holidays.
I think it was a good conversation. I think it was well needed.
It was necessary.
In some aspect.
Conversation to have, because again, you get informed from all sides. The one thing I've learned about the comic community in general is somebody always knows more than you do in this community. That's always true. You never have 100% knowledge of the hobby, of the space, of the niche that you like, whatever. Nobody has 100% knowledge of anything in this hobby. So one should always be open to listening to others and what input they might have and experience they might have, because it makes us all better informed consumers. So with that, have a nice Christmas.